Ahead tonight, the demands of those protesting workers are met as government and the Public Service Union has reached an agreement. And talks with foreign experts on the pending gaming bill set to begin soon. The Bahamas Tonight, the weekend edition, starts now.
Now in HD. Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kendino Knowles, and welcome to the weekend edition of The Bahamas Tonight. Dozens of workers who led that mass demonstration on the grounds of the Ministry of Public Works yesterday may have calmed down for the time being, as it appears their demands are being met. The union says it's now satisfied that following talks with government officials yesterday, they've reached an amicable agreement. Jared Higgs spoke to the union president today on those talks and, of course, the way forward.
Employees of the Ministry of Works, angry over unpaid hazardous pay, took to the streets to express their concerns on Friday. Today, BPSU President John Pinder says the issue is well on its way to being resolved following meetings held yesterday with senior government officials.
The Permanent Secretary, who's acting in place of the Permanent Secretary for Ministry of Works, Mr. Calvin Balfour, we met, and he had a number of hazardous pay at his desk to approve. He has signed off on those. I believe the station said that they will get them in short order.
While Pinder says he is satisfied with the fact that the workers are being paid, he says steps are also being taken to rectify the issue of some workers not being classified for hazardous pay.
We had made a case to the Public Service, Department of Public Services, and the ministry is now going to pursue that further to ensure that those categories that were left out is included.
Going forward, Pinder assured that his union will do everything in its power to ensure that those workers are included in the next industrial agreement, as well as addressing the manner in which hazardous pay is distributed.
And as we now in negotiations for a new industrial agreement, we will ensure that those persons are part of that. In addition to, we want to ensure that persons' hazardous pay is attached to their base salaries. Risk allowance and hazard pay should be attached to their base salaries, and so that we don't have this happening any further where persons have to wait for their claims to be submitted in order to receive hazard pay.
Now, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Public Works, Renward Wells, said in 2005 an agreement was signed to allow deserving persons to receive hazardous pay. During the mass demonstration on Friday, he revealed that some payments were already issued, and as early as this coming Tuesday or Wednesday, the remaining workers will receive payments. But he noted that the agreement also stipulates that once the national health insurance comes into effect, the hazardous allowance will end. Jared Higgs, ZNS Network News.
Well, the next several days could see new developments unfolding regarding the historic gaming bill and the details set to roll out in that landmark piece of legislation. Well, key areas of that bill will hinge on talks in the coming hours and days with Financial Action Task Force representatives in Europe. Attorney General Alison Maynard Gibson is expected to enter discussions with the top experts on government's gaming plan. Prime Minister Perry Christie revealed this week that those talks will help government decide whether there are uncertainties about the gaming regime in the Bahamas. Well, power consumers in New Providence may be in for a smooth ride after that massive blackout this week. The Bahamas Electricity Corporation says it has generally resolved the power challenges at its Clifton Pier power plant after the facility was hit by lightning earlier this week, damaging key infrastructure. Those damages, we're told, resulted in extended periods of power cuts, sending portions of New Providence into black for hours. Executive Chairman Leslie Miller says despite the issues, he's pleased with the efforts to restore the supply, which is said to now be up and running.
We bought back the machine with Bahamian labor and ingenuity, and we have all engines now. In fact, Clifton is now running at 116 megawatts, so we'll be back in good shape. And I apologize on behalf of the corporation for the problems we've been having over the last few days, but you haven't had none, for the last day or so we just got to work with each other and get it done.
Meantime, educational officials in most public schools across Grand Bahama not so lucky, as those institutions are slowly being reconnected. The power supply company there cut off electricity to half of the government schools on Wednesday. It's a situation Education Minister Jerome Fitzgerald has described as unfortunate. He said he was not pleased with the move, as government has had ongoing talks with Grand Bahama Power Company and is not seeking to create any tension with the private sector. During the disconnection process, we're told meters were reportedly removed from 2 schools on Grand Bahama. Meantime, effective this coming Tuesday, the Ministry of Finance says it will assume responsibility for paying the utility bills of all government ministries as the new budget takes effect. And still on education, the recent elimination of the plus grade from the grading system on Grand Bahama is said to be placing public school students at a disadvantage compared to their private school peers. The system was eliminated on other islands some time ago, but Bahamas Union of Teachers Area Vice President for Grand Bahama, Quinton LaRota, says the grade adjustment that comes with it has seen students who made the honor roll in the last academic year miss the bar this year.
We think that a computerized system could be put in place where you have B pluses and C pluses, because a child that gets an 89 gets the same GPA as a child that gets a 71. That margin is way too wide, and it doesn't take a primary school education to see that something fundamentally is wrong with that. So a child that got an 85 or an 89, they got a B plus, which would equate to 3.5. Now a child that gets an 89 gets a B, a 3 point. And that has a tremendous effect on the overall GPA.
Now, LaRota acknowledged that the new system allows for standard measurement across all public schools, but he maintains that the inequity it creates with private school students is troubling, and it makes it more difficult for students to secure scholarships. He says it's an issue which appears only Grand Bahama is agitating for.
And if that public school student is competing with a private school student, and all things being equal, if GPA comes into consideration, the public school students are at disadvantage. And I believe that those things could be addressed. As we should at least have those pluses in place like the private school system do. Mm-hmm. So at the very least, there's some equity in that regard. But if I'm in a private school and I get an 89 and that's a B plus, then in the public school it should be a B plus too. It shouldn't be a B. Because you're putting my public school student at a disadvantage.
Now talking tourism, the Surrey industry remains a prominent feature of our #1 industry, and now steps are being taken to enhance the business. But over the years, it has attracted negative attention that has even gone global. But the Transport Minister is now saying that significant work is underway to improve and modernize the Surrey operations in downtown Nassau. Among the current level of concern is the health of local horses. But for the first time, government has agreed to have a veterinarian chair the board, which has oversight for the industry. One of the board's new mandates is the enforcement of a clear protocol for the handling of complaints. In addition to monthly inspections of horses, additional details on their general health are now collected. While the tourism experience in the Surrey business is improving, officials are saying brace for a possible fare increase to allow operators to adequately care for their animals and to keep their Surreys in good condition. Well, still to come in the Bahamas tonight, HIV/AIDS statistics are trending downward. What you can do to help